So enough of the inside and the little trims and bits and pieces. I've actually got the bits for the service on the timing belt, so now I'm going to crack on with this. So before I get into the service, I need to see what parts I need. Obviously I need oil filter plugs. I was recommended a 1550 oil. So that's what I'm going to put in here, because it's quite an old engine, as in, you know, design wise, it's not going to take a 5 very well. So I'll probably put a 15. Also the plugs, I need to double check what's in there. If they're original ones in there, then I won't put those in there. I'll put what I've been recommended. Also, I've been having to think of, like I said, I'm going to change this viscous fan and put electric fan. So I've measured that up. So it's about 13 inches. So I'm going to order a 13-inch fan. While that's off, I'll actually take the radiator off to make my life easier doing the timing belt. I'm also going to remove the intercooler and probably mount the forged one that I have that I took off my race car, the Mark IV Golf. And also I had loads of like little boost pipes. I'm actually going to see if I can improve and get rid of this mess here and make it all, you know, one size, or at least this reduced down, because I think this actually looks like it could be a 2.5. So just have 2.5 going all the way around into the intercooler and then out of the turbo. So this turbo, I've had a quick look, there's no play in it. Take an intake pipe off, but the more I look at it, this looks like it's a T34 off a Cosworth, I think. But also I see there's a little plate here. So I'm going to actually remove this 13 and check the serial number and see what it says on that plate. Also, the air filter was just kind of really badly done, like a big step in there. Instead of actually having a reducer, they just kept this 90 on here, and it was hitting up against the rear of the light and damaging the filter, which isn't great. Also, I noticed there's a little hole in here, which I think will push through. Put the air filter literally just underneath there. Okay, so I've taken the plate off, and it's a BTN turbo. It says on here the part number is T3 Special, whatever that means, and the serial number. I mean, I've called this company up. This phone number actually doesn't exist anymore. So I googled the company, came up with a phone number, called them up. They've actually, who originally owned these, have been bought by another group, and these part numbers don't actually mean anything to them. To me, it looks like a T34 off a Cosy. It's obviously something special about it, because it says it's T3 Special, so it's probably modified in some way. So I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's when I get back to Portugal and put it on the rollers, and let's see what this actually puts down. And also, bits have been arriving in the post, and I've ordered these. They're fairly inexpensive off eBay for the trims that are missing here. It just looks really ugly without it, really. And also, when I was washing the car, I noticed water was getting in, so it does obviously need these trim bits. So I think it's just a simple push fit, really. I think with these, it's nothing too really easy. Took all of 5 minutes, get these on, job done. Now the battery, I was messing around with the battery for a bit, took a bit of ages. I actually ended up using a VW battery clamp on it, so that worked perfectly. Also, some of you guys may recognize this from the Mark III, so an earth terminal as well, because he had like a short one. I think he's moved, maybe due to rust or something, he moved the earth terminal strap that was there to there, and it just wouldn't reach. It was really short. So I just shortened the original Mark III one, so it looks all tidy, put it on there, job done. So it's all clamped, so that's done. So that's MOT done and MOT friendly. So I can kind of move on now. So my first modification, I suppose it's the benefit of having broken my Mark IV track car, having loads of boost pipes. These are those boost pipes, an air filter and stuff, and that's the forged intercooler, which I think I'm going to end up using on this. I think it's going to be a lot tidier, the install with that on there, as well as I'm going to use up these metal pipes and cut them up so I can make this booster on a lot tidier, as well as all kind of one size. Not this kind of reduce, I think it goes from 2 to 2.5 or something. It's a bit of a mess around there. But yep, so already, once this does actually get running, that will perform a lot better. It's not going to be sucking in loads and loads of hot air inside from the engine bay. It'll get it down from the front, so the filter will end up sitting just below there. Just need to make a bit of space for it to get this this ITG. The other ITG actually that was on the car literally just fell apart. So I took that other blue Samco off to put this SFS one on here. And this was originally my boost pipe that went from where did this one go through? Oh, this went from the turbo to the front of the intercooler on my Mark IV Golf. It's in 2.5 inch. It's got, I think it's like a 45 and a 90. But I'm actually looking to see, actually the 45, and it's also got a dump valve outlet, so I can actually hide the dump valve down there. I mean, look at that. I have to tidy that up down there. With someone's literally just drilled holes in it and smoothing it off, so I'm gonna have to clean it up down there as well. And I think if I can get it, that angle there is absolutely perfect actually, that 45 to come up to clear the ABS pump. And then if I cut the pipe here, I can then turn the pipe the other way around to come to feed into that. I think that will actually work. Better get the grinder out, start cutting. And I've cut it and it actually fits pretty perfect. I've got it to fit perfectly. It means the dump valve will be down there. I'll just shorten this here, put the dump valve behind the headlights. That's cool. Got that little takeoff there which I just need to block up. So, and I've just kind of taped it up. And I will actually weld this up today. Also, you see all this little dust, I took on off the soundproofing because actually that's probably a fire hazard, especially with a turbo. So I'm just going to peel all this off. It has to come off anyway when it goes to the body shop. And then maybe I'll get something else on there. Maybe even something gold or something, let me see. I don't want to go too nuts, but for the moment anyway, especially for my journey down, I don't want to take the risk of this kind of just falling apart, as you can see, and it's catching fire. So I've taken a whole load of it off. Also, let me come around the other side. I think this is the boost controller. So yes, it wasn't even connected, so I just removed it. There's no point in it being actually sitting there. I will probably set something up, but for the time being, I'm just going to run it on wastegate pressure. I'm assuming by the size of this, this looks like a Dash 31, which could be 15 PSI anyway. So it holds a bar, so that'd be more than enough for me to kind of ascertain where the car's at and to get me down there to Portugal. I had to take off the whole front valance here and the bumper, and to actually get this intercooler off, it was a big eBay Toyota Sport thingy, which I'm not a fan of anyway. So yeah, I had to cut these brackets off. But somebody, as you can see, they're welding on there, and it was quite rusty. So I just cut off more than I needed to. And I got this little box section here, thick steel, which I've kind of just cut to shape as well. Just need to trim it down a little bit, and I'm going to weld that in now as well into there. Let's just trim it off a little bit more, get my magnet out, hold it in place, and weld that in there, and do the same on this side as well. Just need to weld that up so then I can mount my intercooler. But before I do all of that, it's all about gonna get this timing belt done, and also get the plugs done, do the oil and the oil filter. So there you go, that's the standard plug, which is a BR6 ES, and the ones that are going in are a 7 ES, so it's the next one along. And the plugs are actually pretty new. I mean, they're black, obviously because it's been maybe just on cold start. I haven't really kind of driven it warm, as well as I'm sure the maps are going to need to be adjusted anyway, but I'll do that at a later stage. So I'm not going to throw these away, I'll keep them as spares and fit these uprated ones in. So while I was here doing the plugs, it also concerned me when I first saw the car that these leads were going to be really tight and close to this red hot turbo and this downpipe. I am going to buy a turbo jacket for it to cover it. I'm also thinking about, even though I'm fitting that more efficient forge intercooler, I'm also thinking about fitting the water meth injection kit that I have that came also off my Mark IV track car. As you can see, actually a lot of bits are actually coming off my track car. Kind of I'm repurposing them or upcycling them, whichever way you wanna look at it. Because also I've got the dump valve here. I've noticed this Bailey dump valve doesn't seem to be working very well. I've got the forged one off my track car again. Okay, so next job, the plugs are done and the oil's done, is the thermostat. Also bought myself a thermostat. I don't know when this was changed because obviously the car's been sitting for such a long time. So I need to be careful with this because it looks quite rusty and corroded there. So I might have to hit it a few times to shock it to make sure I don't snap anything. I'll take this boost pipe off to give me some space. So that's the next job, is do the thermostat on this. Right, so I got it off. It looks fairly new, but still I couldn't take the risk to change it anyway. I mean, lucky I used a hammer to hammer these, otherwise, you know, you have to hammer them, shock them, because look at that, it just would have snapped. I mean, this was the last one. It took quite a bit to actually take off. And I think some of the problem that you need to do is when you put steel bolts into aluminium bits and pieces, it just furs up and it locks in. You know, so now what I'm going to do is actually going to clean off these bolts as best as I can. I'm going to clean them all up. I'm going to clean the threads up as well. I'm going to put copper grease on the bolts so that then, you know, in the future, if I do need to take it off again for whatever reason, they're not going to fur up in this way. Give it a bit of a clean, but when I get to Portugal, I'll actually probably anodize this all in black. And this is the copper grease I'm talking about. And then at least it doesn't stick to, doesn't fur up. You don't have the same problem again in the future taking it off. So I've just done a timing belt. It's pretty easy really. There's a little mark here on the cam pulley and on the head, and then on the same, on the pulley down here, there's a mark there that lines up with an indent there in the cover. So that's pretty easy. The tension is easy as well. So that's all timed up and ready to go. I welded up, I got some box section, cut the box section in half, top and bottom like that. And let me get the intercooler, which I've already also painted black, so it's nice and stealth, and it's dry now. Okay, so that's all mounted, so all that's left to do now is just drill some holes and secure that on properly. But before obviously I get to do that, since I've got the welder out, I'm also then going to remove this boost pipe and weld a bead around here so that the boost pipe doesn't come off. Weld the two bits together, because obviously this was facing the other way, so this was my Mark IV. Just kind of weld that through there. I'm going to cut that a little bit shorter where the dump valve goes, and then again weld a little bead around it and also fill in that little hole that I don't need that. Also, for you guys that know the BMWs, this is where the distributor cap fits, and because if you run the coil pack, I don't really need that anymore. I think it's a bit of an eyesore, it just sit in there. So I actually machined down the little lip that was on here, so that then I'm going to get a plate, water cut in aluminium, and actually to fit this to cover this, because otherwise stuff will fall into the timing belt. And on the intake side, as I just showed you before, with the 2.5 inch, I took that off because obviously I think the 3 inch will also give me a bit of a gain as well. So it goes from 2.5 to 3, an aluminium pipe that will just go down to feed the air filter. So it's already looking a lot tidier with little gold bits and stuff. This 3 inch intake, the air filter's done as well. It's down here. It gives me enough space as well to get the boost pipes around that way. I need to work out what I need now for there, as well as I need to work out for this side. So I can't believe it. I've used maybe, I don't know, 80% of all my pipes from my track day Mark IV Golf, because it had also, you know, 2.5 inch boost pipes. So I've been able to make something up quite cool. So the cold side, i.e. out of the intercooler, I've done that round, comes up round here. Repurposed this one, bent it round, painted up nice black for the time being. I'll probably end up color coding them at the body shop when it gets done in Portugal, and use that as well. Kind of also what I've done is I had an oil breather, because this had like a cheap little eBay one here, and also the breather pipe went round that way round. So what I've done is I've literally turned it around the other way, and it does actually fit. But also I've going to repurpose this thing that I've made, my own catch cam with baffle inside it as well. And it's got 2 inlets because the 20 valve has from the rocker cover and the block. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this dash 8, I think it is a dash 10 off, and actually buy a blanker. So I can blank off one, make a little bracket, weld it up, bolt it off here off the manifold so it will sit nice and hidden under this boost pipe like so. Like I said, the pipe comes round. They actually, whoever did it, shrunk it down from a 19 to looks like a 16 or 15, which isn't ideal. So I'm going to keep it. I'll change this. This is the pipe here. I'm going to change it for a black one, and then put like a plastic fitting 90 to come around here, and I'll extend this braided hose because it's actually the same thickness, and it will just, it's not far off it actually, and it will just fit comfortably around there, all in black. So that will look quite nice as well. So I want to get that done, or I have to get that done before the MOT takes place. Also, I've had to, well, I said 80% because obviously, unfortunately, I don't have this 2-inch size. I never used it on my Mark IV Golf. So I'm going to order a 2 1/4 57 mil 90 steel, and then get a 135 steel and weld those together. So I get rid of basically this clip, well, this boost pipe here. So this will all be one piece from here down, because also I'll get something that goes from 51 mil to 57 mil. So that'll be kind of a straight reducer there, and it'll just be metal all the way around to the intercooler. Because this is a 135 bend on it, so I'll just either get a 90 and a 45 and make my own, or see if I can find one on eBay, 57 mil, 137 bend on that, and it'll go into there, and that's all mounted up. This oil cooler, it was really, really long, and it was just giving it so much, it was actually going to interfere with where the new air filter position is now, as well as the boost pipe and stuff where it was going to run. I just didn't like it. It also had so much opportunity to actually, you know, chafe, rub on something and come through. So actually what I've done was, instead of actually needing to shorten 2 of them, because obviously I've run it a more direct way beneath the headlights, is that the shorter one I've actually put furthest away, and it's actually worked perfectly. And this one I just cut it off. I have to take it down to Pertec, a company that does hoses, and they'll just be able to just crimp that back on there like so, and then I can secure it. I've got a bag of these, they're called P-clips, and I can secure them on there, so there'll be no danger of it rubbing and actually bursting an oil line. That could be not very nice if that happens. It could leave me stuck in the middle of Spain somewhere. Okay, so that's going to be done. So that's kind of where I'm at today. Also, I'll show you guys the inside, what I've done of some of the trims that I've kind of sourced. Still a mess in here. So I got that boot for the handbrake. Also, I took off these gauges with this, looks like it's a BMW specific E30 bracket that someone's made up, and it's actually got Audi 80 or Audi 90 gauges actually, these are. So I'm going to put this up for sale on eBay. Don't need this. I have the boost gauge there, which is pretty cool. I've just put the ashtray, so I sourced that as well. For this clock, I need like a little bracket, I think, that holds it in place, so I have to source one of those. I'm trying to get an old style Alpine stereo for here, a cassette, CD, or even a mini disc one if I can find one. Also that was missing, the knob for the heat control, so I've sourced that. One of these A-pillars I've put on already, just need to put on the other side. The steering cowling seems to be taking forever to come. Maybe it's got lost in the post. You have to message the guy. I see Andrew was mentioning something about, left a comment on the last video about the steering wheel. Yep, of course, this OMP is not going to stay on here. I'm going to try and find an original wheel, or maybe even just a Momo or even a BBS if the budget can go so far, or if one comes up at the right price. A BBS wheel I think would look quite nice. I'm definitely going to take this off as well. This is terrible. This is like a newer car, isn't it? 36 maybe, or 46. Yeah, that has to go. That has to go. I've also found myself a set of actual Recaro sport seats with a lumbar support. I've actually sourced them with no sponge damage, but no covers on them because they've all been kind of restored and stuff. So I'm gonna have to get myself a set of seat covers. So when I go down to Portugal, I've actually got something to comfortable to sit on, not just sponge. But I'll show you those in the next video. And what else can I show you guys? Oh, the boot. Also, actually, before we go around to the boot, a mate of mine said maybe you should paint these kind of black so they won't kind of stand out so much when you're going through just on the journey. And he was actually right. I just rattle canned it because I'm going to change the tires on these. So actually, before I fit the new tires on, I'm going to rattle can these up and then change the tires on them. They'll just, you know, one, it looks a bit meaner, I think, with them in black, as well as it won't stand out so much going on the ferry and going through customs and stuff. Let me go around. So yep, so this is the boot. Haven't really showed you guys. It's a boot, so it's generally not too much to find. It did have a spare wheel, actually a BBS, but I think I'm going to put that for sale. I'll just get a normal one. Rust here isn't actually so bad. I was a bit worried. These E30s, looks like it's got a bit of surface rust there, and maybe a bit of repair has been done here, but I'll double check that and get that done in Portugal if it needs anything. What I did notice was the carpets were missing on the side, so I was able to source again off eBay a set of carpets. All I need to be done is I need to give these a hoover and then a good jet wash, dry them out and get those fitted. So I'll leave that for the next video as well. It's nothing exciting, but you know, it's just the little bits and pieces. Unfortunately, my toolkit has been raided, it seems, and there's literally not a single tool in there. Maybe I can see if I can find some of the tools that went in there. I think it'd be quite nice if I can find the original toolkit to go in there. Okay, so that needs a little screw on that, so I can sort that out as well. So that's it for today. I was hoping to get the actual valance on, and I just ran out of time basically. It does actually take time, a lot of time, kind of sorting out these little bits of issues, especially when I'm not so clued up, as well as there's loads of bits to be ordered still, like the dump valve, 90, and those other little bits for the turbo to the intercooler side to be sorted as well. But that'll be done for next week. So on Sunday, there'll be more updates on this. This will be an every Sunday update, as well as I'll have more updates on the Mark II and how that's going. I'm waffling on. Thanks for watching. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, click on that notification bell and be safe.